おばんです. His grandfather's tools kept returning to their positions on the wall. The half-finished project on the bench kept advancing. Small progress each morning. He did not stop it, simply watched. Until the morning the project was complete, and he understood what his grandfather had been making, and why he had needed to finish it before he could fully let go. Don't move anything tonight that was left exactly where someone put it. It is time for chapter 164. Some work cannot be left unfinished, not for practical reasons, not because the project has a deadline or a waiting recipient, but for the other kind of reason, the kind that belongs to the person doing the work rather than to the work itself. The kind that says this is not done yet, and I am not done with it, and whatever comes next will have to wait until I have finished what I started. Most of us leave things unfinished when we have to, accept the incompleteness as part of the condition of a life that ends before everything is resolved. But occasionally, someone who could not quite accept that incompleteness finds a way to continue. In a workshop, after hours, with tools that return to their positions on the wall each morning. A man had inherited his late grandfather's workshop following the older man's death. His grandfather had been a craftsman, woodworking primarily, the particular kind of patient, precise woodworking that belongs to someone who has been doing it for decades and has stopped needing to think about the technical aspects in order to achieve results. The workshop was attached to the house. The man had been given both and was in the process of deciding what to do with them. He began in the workshop. The tools hung on the wall exactly where his grandfather had left them, organized with the particular logic of a craftsman who knows where everything is without looking. A half-finished project on the workbench. He began clearing. He took the tools from the wall carefully, placed them in boxes, set the boxes by the workshop door, covered the half-finished project on the bench, uncertain what to do with it, simply not ready to discard something his grandfather had been working on when he died, went to bed, came back to the workshop the following morning. The tools were on the wall exactly as they had been. The boxes were by the door, empty. He stood in the workshop and looked at the tools on the wall and at the empty boxes and thought about what he was looking at, then looked at the half-finished project on the bench. It was different from how he had left it. Not dramatically, simply advanced, as though a small amount of work had been done on it overnight. If these stories have found their way to you, if you find yourself returning to this quiet room, there is something small you can do. Like and subscribe. It tells me, and whatever else watches from this room, that you were here and that you intend to find your way back. If you have a story of your own, Granny is always listening, watching, waiting. He did not try to move the tools again, simply left them where they returned to each night, and began checking the project on the bench each morning. The advances were consistent, small, precise, in the style he recognized from his grandfather's other finished work. The particular quality of his grandfather's hand evident in each morning's progress. He began leaving the workshop light on overnight. began sitting in the workshop in the evenings, not watching exactly, simply present. The sense of work happening after he went to bed remained. The project advanced regardless of whether he sat there or not. Shakkoi, not the workshop temperature, the cold of sitting in a space where something is working that should not be working, and finding it less frightening than expected. I wonder if someone you loved had left something half-finished, and you discovered it was still being worked on. Would you let it continue, or would you feel you needed to stop it? If you have a story of your own, this quiet room has space for your experiences, too. Granny is always listening. The project took 6 weeks to complete from the morning he first noticed the overnight progress. 6 weeks of small daily advances in his grandfather's particular style. He examined each morning's work carefully, looking for any deviation from what he knew of his grandfather's approach, any sign that what was happening was something other than what it appeared to be. He found none. Every morning's work was consistent with the craftsman he had known. The same patience, the same precision, the same particular way of solving the small problems that arise in any complex piece of woodworking. His grandfather working after his own death in his own workshop with his own tools on a project he had started and had not been able to leave unfinished. You are still here. Good. Some stories need a witness all the way to the end. I wonder, what do you think his grandfather was making? And who do you think it was for? The morning the project was complete, he stood at the bench for a long time before he touched it. A wooden box, carefully jointed. The lid fitted with the precision of someone who understood that a lid should close in a specific way and had the patience to achieve exactly that. He opened it. Inside, in a shallow recess shaped for the purpose, was a folded document. He took it out, unfolded it, his grandfather's handwriting, a letter, addressed to him specifically, written as though his grandfather had known there would be time to finish it, which the man understood standing at the bench he had made time for, however that had been possible. The letter said what it needed to say. He did not share its contents with me. Said only that it said what he had needed to hear, and that the box was the right place for it. Some things need finishing before they can be let go. I understand this completely, from where I sit. I think about unfinished work, about the particular relationship between a craftsman and an incomplete project, the way it occupies the mind even when the hands are elsewhere. The way the solution to a joinery problem presents itself at unexpected moments. The way a piece of work becomes, over time, a conversation between the maker and the material. And about what it would mean to have that conversation interrupted before it was concluded, before the box was finished, before the letter inside it was safe, before the person it was meant for had received it. And about a grandfather who found, somehow, a way to continue that conversation in his own workshop with his own tools, until the box was finished and the letter was safe and the right person had read it. Some conversations are worth continuing, whatever it takes. Another whispered story from Japan, shared quietly here beside the kotatsu. If you inherit a workshop from someone who was a craftsman, if the tools are hanging exactly where they were left and there is a half-finished project on the bench, do not rush to clear it. Leave the tools where they are. Cover the project if you must, but do not remove it, and check it each morning. Because some work cannot be left unfinished for reasons that belong entirely to the person who started it, and some craftsmen find a way to continue in the only space available to them after everything else has changed. Their own workshop, their own tools, their own particular patience and precision, working after hours, making small progress each morning, until the project is complete, and whatever needed to be finished is finished, and whatever needed to be said is inside the box, waiting for exactly the right person to open it. If this story stayed with you, if the dark or the shadow feels a little closer tonight, you know where to find me. I am always here beside the kotatsu, watching, waiting. And if you wish others to find their way here too, there is something small you can do. Like and subscribe. I would not object. And if you have a story of your own, this quiet room has space for your experiences too. Granny is always listening.